For the last 2 months, I've been living in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and during this time, I think I've got to know the city pretty well. In this video, I want to talk about 5 things you cannot miss if you're going to come visit Buenos Aires as a tourist, as an expat, as a nomad, as a backpacker, whatever it may be. These are my 5 favorite things to do since I've been here. So without further ado, let's get into the video. What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Alex and this is the Lifting Nomad. If you're new to the channel, I've spent the last 2 years of my life traveling kind of all over the world, staying in shape and enjoying the little things in life such as wine, good food, nightlife, all of that, while staying in relatively pretty good shape. And my channel is all about living that balanced lifestyle, finding fitness, nutrition, nightlife, everything that makes life enjoyable and how to balance it. So if that sounds interesting, feel free to check out some of my other videos below. But in this one, I want to talk about the 5 things you cannot miss if you are visiting Buenos Aires. So the first thing, number 1, and this is should not come as a surprise if you have looked at any of the other lists or watched any content about BA, it is the steak and the food. Argentina is world renowned for its steaks, and Buenos Aires is of course no exception to that rule. If you're walking around any of the major neighborhoods, you really can't go any longer than like a block or 2 without running into another steakhouse. It is everywhere. You go to a grocery store here, you can get a nice big sirloin for like $1 or $2. Ground beef is like $1 for half a kilo in a pack. They have super easy access to a lot of extremely high quality beef. And because of that, the restaurants here are pretty cheap and they are delicious. A couple of them specifically that come to mind, if you Google like best steakhouses in Argentina, you're gonna come up with things like Don Julio. In Buenos Aires, probably Carrillo Parrilla. There's a lot of different steakhouses. I'm gonna drop 5 of my favorites right here in the video for you to check out if you do come visit. But a couple things to note before you actually go and have dinner. They actually don't season their steaks like overwhelmingly much like you would find at home with different kinds of sauces and lots of different rubs. They really like to just let the steak talk for itself. So if you are someone who can't just eat like a really, really well-cooked piece of steak, maybe a little bit of salt and pepper, you may have a bit of a tough time getting used to it. But overall, the meat is so good and the quality is so high and it's so easily accessible that you can get it pretty much every night of the week. I've had friends come visit down here and every single meal for a week, if they're coming for like 1 or 2 weeks, every single dinner they will have steak. It is that cheap, it is that reliable, it is that delicious when you come down here. I will say as a recommendation, if you are trying to get into one of the more fancier steakhouses, generally if you try and get in early, because Argentinians tend to have dinner very, very late at night, sometimes like 9, 10, 11 p.m. is pretty normal. If you do go when these restaurants are first opening, usually around like 7 or 7:30, it can be pretty easy to walk in and get a table, even if you don't have a reservation. Otherwise, if you do want to get a prime time dinner booking at one of these more specific or famous restaurants, definitely recommend booking your reservation well in advance. All right, number 2 is the parks. Buenos Aires, of course, in Spanish means good air, and the city does not disappoint on that front. There are parks absolutely everywhere throughout this city. Everything from the Japanese gardens to the Eco Parque to the Armenian gardens to the hundreds of smaller parks that are just like constantly throughout the city. It seems like you can't walk a block or 2 without seeing a park. They're all really beautiful and delightful ways to spend some time if you are going to be in BA for a few days or a few weeks, whatever it is. A lot of times these smaller parks, you'll see kids playing football. You'll see like parents with their kids playing on like the jungle gyms and like the playgrounds, that kind of thing. It's just really common for people to go there, spend an afternoon, have some mate, read a book, hang out with some friends, and just chill in the park. It's part of like Argentinian culture, very relaxing, very nice, and a lot of these parks are pretty clean and safe, so definitely worth checking out. Keep in mind though, they can be a little bit sketchy sometimes if you're not in a really nice neighborhood, just because there isn't like security or police often around them if they are in a park, so just keep that in mind. Number 3, third thing I would recommend if you are coming to BA is go to a football match. Of course, after Argentina won the World Cup last year, there was huge celebrations. I actually got to Buenos Aires a week after Argentina had just won the World Cup, and it was still partying. There were still people out in the streets. There was like bottles and cups, and just like, it looked like there was a war zone had gone through the city from the amount of celebrations that they had had over that previous week. But there's just like a ton of different teams that play within the Premier League, essentially, of Argentina. Most notably within Buenos Aires is La Boca Juniors in the play in Boca neighborhood. I will say it's kind of difficult to get tickets for it because you essentially have to be a local to purchase them. There are a lot of Airbnb experiences or people who resell them, but I have had a couple of my friends actually buy fake tickets this way, so they got like scammed through a scalper. So just make sure you are doing your due diligence. I would recommend honestly just doing a Airbnb experience that has like a well-rated review. Typically, at least like someone who's hosting is gonna speak English if you don't speak Spanish, which is gonna make it a little bit easier. And then you also get like the guarantee that these are going to be real tickets. Outside of La Bocas, who play in La Bombonera, you have a lot of different teams around the city. I actually went to a Velez game this year that was kind of interesting, and they're actually probably the better team over the last couple decades. La Bocas is definitely the most famous, but Velez has been playing incredibly well, so we went and saw a match at their stadium. Tons of fun, tons of energy. Also worth mentioning that you can't actually bring any alcohol or purchase alcohol inside the stadium. So if you are planning on going to a match and you want to get a little bit of a cheeky buzz on, I would recommend doing a little bit of a tailgate before you get inside, as you won't be able to purchase any once you're inside the stadium. Number 4, if you're coming to visit Buenos Aires, for me, is actually just explore a little bit more of Argentina. I think a lot of people come to the main city here, they fly in because it's the biggest airport, it's the capital city, it's the biggest city, and they don't really get a chance to explore other parts of Argentina. Whether that's wanting to go down to Patagonia, to like Bariloche or Ushuaia, or go check out some of the wine regions in like Cordoba and Mendoza, or go to like the salt flats. This is actually like Salta, Argentina, which isn't just in Bolivia. They do have the salt flats on the Argentina side as well, or going to see like Iguazu Falls along the border of Brazil and Argentina. There's just a lot of different places you can go outside of the main Buenos Aires city and still have an amazing time. Last year when I was here for 3 months, I went to Bariloche and Cordoba, the Cordoba capital, and I had a great time in both of those places. So I would definitely recommend trying a couple of days to get out of the city and check out a different region, depending on what's most interesting to you. Do you want to go hiking? Do you want to go to vineyards? Do you want to go to the falls? There's a lot of different things that should be able to fit whatever you're looking to do. Number 5, if you're coming to visit Buenos Aires, is experience the nightlife. I've been to a lot of cities in my life, and to be honest, Buenos Aires still has the most crazy nightlife I have ever seen. My first night here this year, I got in around, I think like 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and I pretty much just came to my apartment, got checked in, showered, unpacked, and then immediately started day drinking with some of my friends that I was traveling with. And by the end of the night, we had gone out for dinner, we had gone for cocktails, we had gone for drinks, and then we ended up going to like different nightclubs until 7:30 a.m. And we left at 7:30 and that place was still bumping. We were not the last one standing by any stretch of the imagination. And I will say, when we got into the streets outside of that club, there were some creatures prowling around. So a couple of my favorite places to go if you're coming to Buenos Aires, I'm gonna leave a list right here below. Everything from cocktail bars to some of the nightclubs. But honestly, the city has kind of everything for everyone. If you want to have just like a couple casual day drinks on a patio for happy hour, they're gonna have that. If you do want to go out till 9 a.m. at a proper nightclub, they have that as well. They have different festivals all throughout the year, from like Lollapalooza last year that had like Drake, Bad Bunny. They're supposed to have Blink-182, but I'm pretty sure they ended up bailing. To different events like Bomba del Tiempo, which is like a live drum show that they have in the city. There just really is so many things you can experience in this nightlife that doesn't have to be 9 a.m. rips at a nightclub, but can also just be like really, really high quality cocktails at some of the world's renowned cocktail bars here in Buenos Aires. So hopefully this was useful. Just give me a quick, like short little video of 5 things I think you can't miss if you are coming to visit Buenos Aires. If this video was useful, feel free to leave a like or comment in the section below. Always helps the algorithm. But as always, my name is Alex. Welcome back to Lifting Nomad. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.